Morelia is the capital city of Michoacán, a state that the U.S. government warns citizens not to travel to. So naturally, we went there to check it out. I'm Danny, and this is Mike, Walker, and Granger. We've been living full-time on the road since early 2022. Our hope is to complete the entire Pan-American Highway from the northernmost part of Alaska to the southernmost tip of Argentina. If you're interested in following our journey, which is bound to include many beautiful places, surprises, and laughs along the way, then please subscribe. Now, I don't want you to think that we don't take safety warnings seriously, because we do. We just try to dig a little deeper than the blanket U.S. travel advisories to get a better understanding of what might actually be dangerous. Unfortunately, Michoacán has been home to high rates of violent and organized crime in recent years, often over control of avocado growing territory. However, tourist destinations such as Morelia are considered pretty safe. So we stuck to the toll roads, which are said to be the safest, and headed into the bustling city. Our first night, we camped on this quiet street, and then moved to a public parking lot early the next morning. The lot was full the day before due to a military exhibition going on all week, and it filled up fast each day. Hopping in an Uber to head into a new city reminded me of what it used to feel like when traveling internationally, before COVID and before we started traveling in our rig. It felt exciting and like we were doing something different. Morelia was built in the 1500s. Its historic center is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with over 200 historic buildings, all in the region's characteristic pink stone. This city played a major role in the country's history and independence. We found the historic center absolutely beautiful and charming, with a full-fledged festival in swing. A local woman told us, "We're gathering today to celebrate God." Cool. Mike ventured around the area while I posted up on a bench in the park and tried to recall what I had learned about painting in high school art class. Since I'm unable to walk around too much, I'm exploring new ways to experience the places we visit. I enjoyed sitting in the busy park, having something to concentrate on, and feeling like I was part of the scene, rather than just an observer. After Mike had his fill of walking the streets, we headed to a cafe for lunch. Surrounded by the impressive architecture while we enjoyed our lunch on the patio, it almost felt like we were in Europe. We could have lingered longer, but it was time to get back to the animals. We hopped in another Uber and headed to our little home in the parking lot. After a full day of rest for me, we headed back out on the town 2 days later. We started the evening with some incredible food from Tata Mescaleria y Cocina. These little croquetas were one of the best things we've had in Mexico, and everything else was delicious too, including the quesadillas served on top of a bone. I'm not sure how we don't have video of this, but we did in fact scoop marrow from the bone and eat it with our quesadillas. It was salty and delicious. After dinner, we took a short stroll through the park. This is the Fountain of Fertility, believed to represent 3 Purepecha princesses. They raise a basket of regional fruits to the sky as a sign of prosperity, abundance, and fertility of the earth and humankind. It's a beautiful statue. A block away from the fountain, we came across the Callejón del Romance, or Romance Alley. It's dimly lit and lined with restaurants and art galleries. We take our time walking through the alley to the other side, where we call an Uber to head home.
Sí.
We are so glad we decided to give Morelia a chance. It's such a charming city, and we didn't feel unsafe at any point. The food, pink stone buildings, art, and just everything exceeded our expectations. We would gladly return here again someday, but for now, we're off to somewhere new. This little haven of a campground in Epsilon was a perfect spot to stop off for 2 nights on our way to Puerto Vallarta.
Hola. Buenas tardes. ¿Hablas inglés? Can we camp here tonight?
2 nights.
2 nights? Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Anywhere you want us? Okay. Let's go over here.
We didn't do much of anything during our stay, which was lovely, as I'm sure you can imagine. On the second morning, we packed up and hit the road, but before heading to Puerto Vallarta, we stopped off in the town. The campground host had told us that Epsilon holds the Guinness World Record for the largest crochet canopy, and we just had to see it for ourselves. Okay, wow. This thing was stunning and more impressive than we could have imagined. Even better than the canopy is the story behind it. An elderly mom and her daughter both lost their husbands around the same time. While navigating through their grief, they decided to do something positive with their energy and set out creating this canopy for the town. A few years, lots of material, and many other helping hands later, the canopy now stretches over 86,000 square feet, or 8,000 square meters. It literally covers the town, and we can attest that it sparks joy in anyone who walks beneath it.